Action RPGs can be a pretty fun genre. In some, you can mindlessly beat up things in all sorts of magical ways by pressing a single button, which I find to be somewhat cathartic. In others, precise timing is your key to victory, as carefully avoiding enemy attacks will then give you the satisfying window to unleash your skills. Dead or School, however, is neither of those. Dead or School is a 2D action RPG developed by the three-man indie team Studio Nanafushi. You play as Hisoka, a girl who wants to be an ordinary high school student, except for the fact that society was driven underground by a zombie apocalypse like 80 years ago. One thing leads to another, she puts on her grandmother's school uniform in an attempt to bring ideas back to what they used to be, and her ultimate goal is to travel to the zombie-infested cities and clear them out so she can go to school. It's a silly premise, but it takes itself very seriously because it just does. Gameplay-wise, you are armed with a melee weapon, either a sword or axe, a gun, and a launcher that causes the big explosions. Then, all you need to do is wander around and kill all sorts of monsters on a 2D plane. There are also some fancy animations to go with your attacks and platforming sections that will lead to your next areas. It's around this point that I began to notice problems with the game. During the tutorial, you were informed on how to use a strong attack for each weapon category, except you haven't unlocked the ability to do so. It's moments like these that set the course for a visually nice but extremely lacking adventure. You see, Dead or School has a skill tree for each weapon type that gives a variety of perks. The first thing on each tree is the strong attack, but you won't be able to get them all for like 3 levels. The other perks on the skill tree, however, are almost all completely negligible, and you will find that nearly every upgrade past its first skill level feels virtually empty. Luckily, the actual weapon system is a bit more interesting. You'll get weapons and modifiers from random drops, or you can purchase them at the shop. Furthermore, at save points you can enter a crafting menu and switch out your current loadout. Each weapon has one innate passive skill and can equip up to 2 modifiers. You can obtain new weapon skills using modification cores and upgrade your weapons somewhat using weapon cords and cash. And let me say that these systems are filled with so much missed potential, as upgrading weapons costs an excessive amount of resources for what feels like a waste of time. You need to upgrade your weapons to clear each major map, and then the enemies get so much stronger right afterward, meaning you'll have to throw them out and find some more drops and start grinding them again. The actual gameplay doesn't ever change, instead it just feels like a reset every time you visit a new area. You have to work so hard grinding levels and equipment just to clear stages, only for the game to essentially say all that work was for nothing. The unorganized nature of the systems can also be found in the menus, which aren't clear about what the options actually are. There are numerous instances of ambiguous wording because the translator doesn't have a clear grasp of the English language. And it's not just the game having an inadequate translation though, as the overall story does little with its concept, leading to the impression it's nothing more than a backing track to the subpar gameplay. A backing track that annoys you every time it decides to play. Dead or School isn't all negatives though. The music is pretty great throughout the entire game, even though it doesn't loop, leading to gaps of audible silence between loops. Also, the boss fights are pretty fun if you're used to low budget 3D animations, and you can rematch them with different stats. I should also add that the 2D art is also actually pretty charming, and the CGs and movies are well crafted, and the animations look sharp. Dead or School's combat can be fun in very short bursts, but it ultimately falls flat hard and fast. It has the pacing of a freemium mobile game that's dragging itself thin, begging you to spend money on it to speed it up, except you can't even do that to shorten your own suffering. With a larger budget and community feedback, I'm sure that this team could deliver an excellent experience, but you'll be hard pressed to find that here. Noisy Pixel is giving Dead or School a 4.5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Noisy Pixel is a group dedicated to bringing you the best news, reviews, previews, and more. Please stick around and subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that little bell just to stay up to date on all of our future content. You know, there is actually one really interesting thing about this company, right? They also run a bar in Nakano City. So if you ever swing down that way in Japan, you can go and grab yourself a pizza because they sell pizza. Pizza and video games. What a life.